They sold you a comfortable lie, and you have been paying interest on it ever since. The lie sounds like this: chase success hard enough, and the rest will sort itself out. Earn enough, win enough, and somehow your time, your health, your peace return on their own. You believed it. You are still believing it right now, watching the minutes drain away. So sit still. I am going to take that lie apart in front of you, line by line. Line 1 of the lie: success comes first, everything else comes after. That is backwards. Success built on a wrecked man is a statue raised on wet sand. It sinks. Look at your day, not the day you imagine. The real one, the wasted one. 2 hours scrolling, a meal eaten standing, a body you punish and never command. And you call that the price of ambition. It is not a price. It is a leak. Line 2 of the lie: you have plenty of time, and the grind proves you are serious. But time is the one coin you cannot earn back, and you spend it like a fool. Every wasted hour is not neutral. It quietly chooses the man you are becoming. Line 3: when the money comes, the habits will fix themselves. They will not. A man who cannot rule his mornings will not rule a fortune. He drowns in it. Wealth does not reform a careless man. It magnifies him. It makes the chaos louder. Line 4: health is something you handle later, once you have made it. Later never comes. The body keeps a ledger. Every shortcut, every skipped night, it writes down and it collects. Here is the truth they hid: you do not rise to success. You fall to your foundations. And your foundations are your time, your money, your habits, your health, built or neglected now. You were taught to chase. You were never taught to command the 4 things that carry you. So you sprint after a prize while the ground beneath your feet quietly rots away. This is not motivation. I am not here to make you feel better about wasting your life. I am here to show you the trap, coldly, while there is still time to step out of it. Notice what you feel right now. Not shame, something colder, something like clarity. That clarity is the first thing they did not want you to have. Hold on to it, because the man who sees the trap stops running into it and starts to take control. Not of the world, of the only territory that was ever yours, yourself. Before you chase one more day of success, you will master the ground you stand on: time, wealth, habits, health. Master these and success stops being a chase. It becomes inevitable. Let me say the thing no one says to you. You are tired in a way sleep does not fix. You wake already behind, already owing the day something you cannot name. You are not lazy. You have been working, pouring hours into a machine that returns nothing but the promise of more hours. That exhaustion is real. Do not let anyone call it weakness. But here is where the comfort ends. The tiredness is real. The story you tell about its cause is a lie. You think the fault is in you, your discipline, your will, some flaw stitched in at birth. It is not. You were handed a life designed to drain you, and then blamed for being drained. Look at who profits when you waste an hour. Every screen you fall into was built by men paid to keep you there. Your attention is their harvest. Your boredom is the soil they plant in. They studied precisely how a man like you loses himself, and they sell that loss back to you as comfort. The food that leaves you heavy was engineered to be eaten without thought. The schedule that owns your week was written by people who will never learn your name. You did not choose this rhythm. You inherited it, and then mistook the inheritance for your character. And here is the cruelest part. They need you to believe it is your fault. A man who blames himself keeps grinding in silence. A man who sees the machine becomes dangerous. So they keep the mirror aimed at you and never at them. This is the thing they fear most: control. Not control over them. Control over where your hours go, where your money flows, what your body becomes, what your mind repeats to itself in the dark. The instant you reclaim those 4, their grip begins to slip. You were taught that success is the prize that fixes everything. But success inside a borrowed life only makes you a wealthier servant. The mansion still sits on another man's blueprint. The fortune still moves on their schedule. You win the game and stay a piece on their board. Think of the openness in you, the part that trusts, that says yes, that fills every empty minute with whatever is loudest. That openness is not a defect, it is a door. and other men have spent fortunes learning to walk through it while you sleep. Every alert is a hand on that door. Every effortless distraction is a guest you never invited, eating at your table, drinking your hours dry. You called them harmless. They were never harmless. They were patient. The man who guards his own door decides who enters. He is not colder than you, not smarter than you. He simply stopped leaving himself open to anyone who wanted a piece. That is the whole secret, and it costs nothing but the comfort of staying passive. Notice how rarely anyone urges you to stop and look. The whole machine runs on you, never pausing long enough to ask one question. Who designed the life I am living? You are kept moving on purpose. Motion feels like progress. Most of the time it is only noise dressed as motion. And when you finally do stop, do not expect applause. The men who profit from your distraction have no use for a man who has woken up. Your stillness costs them. Let it. Their discomfort is the first proof that you are taking back what was always yours. So before you chase a single rung higher, you are going to take the 4 territories back. Your time, your wealth, your habits, your health. Not for them, not for applause. For the quiet, dangerous act of belonging to yourself again. Understand the shape of the trap, because seeing it is what frees you from it. It was never built to make you fail outright. Failure would wake you. It was built to keep you almost succeeding, always busy, always one push from a rest you never quite reach. A man kept exhausted is a man kept obedient. The instant you stop spending yourself on their schedule, you become the one thing the whole machine was designed to prevent. A man who owns his own attention. 500 years ago, a man sat in exile, stripped of his power, watching from the edge of a world that had cast him out. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. They called him wicked. They still do. His name became a slur for everything cold and calculating in human nature. But understand why they hated him. Machiavelli did not invent cruelty or cunning. He only refused to lie about them. He wrote down how power actually works, not how priests and poets pretended it works. He held a mirror up to the men who rule, and they have been trying to smash that mirror ever since. He served the powerful, watched them closely, then was tortured and banished. When the winds changed, alone, with nothing left to protect, he wrote the truth he had paid for in flesh. A man with nothing left to lose finally says aloud what everyone else only whispers. And his hardest truth was this: the world rewards the prepared and devours the drifting. The men who rise are not the kindest or the most gifted. They are the ones who command themselves first. Their time, their appetites, their fear, and only then reach for the world. Machiavelli wrote, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally." Read it twice. The fool eventually fixes his time, his money, his body, his habits, but only after life has already broken him for ignoring them. The wise man does it now on purpose, before the breaking. That single line is the whole distance between mastery and ruin. He understood something the comfortable will never admit. That delay is itself a decision. That the hour you refuse to govern is quietly governing you. That the man who waits until he feels ready is simply choosing to be defeated slowly. This is why his book was banned, burned, hidden, condemned from the pulpits. Not because it was false, because it was true, and true in a way that took power out of their hands and offered it to anyone willing to read. Forbidden knowledge is only knowledge that someone powerful would rather you never touched. So take what he learned in exile and torture, and do not waste it the way the comfortable do. He is not here to make you gentle. He is here to make you sovereign, and everything he understood points back to one command: master the ground before you ever try to climb. He is not asking you to be cruel. He is asking you to be honest. Honest about how the world rewards the prepared and quietly forgets the rest. Gentleness without strength is only weakness with better manners. Build the strength first, and then your gentleness becomes a choice you make, instead of a cage you live in. Lesson 1. The bleeding hour. You do not lose your life in great dramatic thefts. You lose it in small unguarded hours that slip away while you are looking at something else. You know the moment. You sit down to do one thing, reach for your phone for 1 second, and look up to find an hour gone, with nothing in your hands to show for it. You did not decide to give that hour away. It was taken while you were not watching the door. Here is why it happens. Your mind is built to chase the next small reward, and an entire industry engineers those rewards to arrive exactly when your attention drifts. The hour does not feel expensive because it leaves in coins, not in one great sum. A minute here, a minute there, and the years are gone before the bill ever feels real. But the bleeding hour is the most expensive thing you own, because time is the only resource that funds all the others. You can earn more money. You can rebuild a body. You cannot buy back a single hour once it has bled out into a screen. So today, do one thing. Choose a single hour of your day and build a wall around it. No screen, no noise, no door left open. Inside that hour, you do only what the man you intend to become would do. One guarded hour. Tomorrow, defend it again. A life is just a stack of hours. Start ruling them one at a time. Guard that hour the way a man guards the gate of his own house, because that is exactly what it is. And do not wait until you feel ready to begin, because that feeling is a trap. Readiness is not the price of starting. It is the reward for having started. The man who waits for motivation hands his hours to whoever is loudest. The man who simply begins, tired or not, willing or not, is the one who slowly takes his life back. Begin badly if you must, but begin. Drop this in the comments. I own the hour does not own me. Lesson 2. The unmoved center. Every man who ever ruled anything first learned to rule the one creature that obeys no one else, himself. You feel the urge and you obey it. The notification, the craving, the flash of anger, the impulse to quit. Something pulls, and before you've even decided, your hand is already moving. You call it being human. It is being commanded by whatever pokes you hardest. This happens because your impulses are faster than your reason. The oldest part of your mind reacts before the wiser part can speak. The men who profit from you know this, so they design the pokes, the sounds, the colors, the easy pleasures to reach you before you can think. A man with no center is a man anyone can move. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. You learn how you are moved so that you can stop being moved. So today, the next time an urge pulls at you, do nothing for 10 slow breaths. Do not obey, do not fight, just wait. In that small gap between the pull and the action, your whole power lives. Practice widening that gap, and one day no urge will move you until you give it leave. The man with an unmoved center is not cold. He simply decides from the inside instead of being yanked from the outside. The world can knock all it likes. He answers only when he chooses to. Type this below. I am the still point they cannot move. Lesson 3. The throne of sand. Money does not make a man, it reveals him. Pour wealth onto a man with no command of himself and you do not get a king. You get a louder fool. You tell yourself the money will fix it. When you earn more, you will finally rest, finally eat well, finally be calm. But look at the men who got the money. The rays vanished into a bigger life. The windfall bought new chains. The richer they became, the faster they ran, and the emptier they looked. This happens because wealth amplifies whatever is already there. A disciplined man with money builds an empire. A scattered man with money builds a more expensive cage. Money has no opinion about who you are. It simply gives your existing habits more fuel. If chaos is what you practice, chaos is what gets funded. So today, before you chase the next sum, master the small money already in your hands. Decide on purpose where every coin goes, what you keep, what you grow, what you refuse to spend. A man who can command a single coin can command a fortune. A man who cannot will be ruled by any amount you give him. Build the man first. Then the throne you sit on will be stone, not sand. And remember, the goal is not to hoard, but to command. A miser is ruled by money just as surely as a spendthrift. Both let the coin dictate the man. Mastery is the quiet middle, where you decide the purpose of every coin before it ever leaves your hand. Money should be a soldier in your service, never a master you serve. Train it, and it builds you an empire. Worship it, and it buries you in one. Drop this below. I command the koan, it does not command me. Lesson 4, the last fortress. They can take your time, your money, your name, your peace. But the body is the last wall standing between you and ruin, and you have been letting it fall without a fight. You treat the body as something to spend. You trade sleep for one more task. Swallow whatever is quickest. Sit until your spine forgets how to hold you. You promise to fix it later, once the important things are handled. But the body does not wait for later. It quietly records every shortcut and presents the bill when you can least afford to pay it. This happens because decay is silent. Nothing collapses today, so you believe nothing is collapsing. The damage hides until it is sudden, and by then it is no longer a habit to change but a sentence to serve. A man with no health has no platform to stand on. Every ambition rests on a body that can carry it, and you have been quietly weakening the only thing that holds the rest up. So today, do one thing the body would thank you for and do it without negotiation. Walk hard for 30 minutes. Sleep one full, honest night. Put down the thing that is slowly poisoning you and pick up water instead. One act of repair today, before the wall cracks further. Defend this fortress like a man who knows it is the last one he has, because it is. A sharp mind in a rotting body is a king locked in a falling tower. Hold the tower, and notice the lie hidden in the word later. Later is where good intentions go to die quietly. Every time you promise to rest later, eat well later, move later, you are not delaying the cost, you are increasing it. The body charges interest on every debt. Pay a little of it today, on purpose, while the payment is still small enough to make. Drop this in the comments. My body is the last wall they cannot buy. Lesson 5. The silent masonry. You are not built by your big decisions. You are built by the small things you repeat without thinking. The quiet stones you lay each day into the shape of the man you become. You wait for the great moment to change your life. The new year, the clean slate, the burst of motivation that finally rewrites you. It comes, it fades, and you are the same man by the weekend. Meanwhile, the tiny things you actually repeat, the late scroll, the skipped meal, the broken promise to yourself, keep laying their stones, building a man you never chose. This happens because the brain loves what is familiar and resists what is effortful. Every repetition carves the path deeper, until the action runs without your permission. Habits are not what you do, they are what you have practiced becoming. You do not rise to your goals, you fall to your routines. Your routines are built one quiet, unwatched stone at a time. So today, choose one small stone and lay it on purpose. Not a grand transformation, one repeatable act so small you cannot fail it. Make the bed, read one page, move for 5 minutes. Do it again tomorrow and the day after. You are not chasing a feeling, you are laying masonry. Stack enough small stones in the same direction, and one day you look up at a fortress you built without ever feeling heroic. Greatness is just ordinary stones, laid every day, by a man who refused to stop. And forgive yourself the days you fall, but never the days you quit. A single missed stone is nothing. A stack of missed stones is who you become. When you break the chain, do not punish yourself into paralysis. Simply lay the next stone the very next day. Consistency is not perfection. It is returning again and again no matter how many times you drift. Type below. I build insolence, I collect in stone. Lesson 6. The borrowed gaze. You have been performing your whole life for an audience that is not even watching, and paying for the show with your own freedom. Think of how many choices you made for the eyes of others. The job that looked impressive. The purchase that would be noticed. The opinion you softened so no one would frown. You arranged your life like a stage set, and somewhere along the way, you forgot you were the only one trapped, living inside it. This happens because the human mind was wired in tribes, where exile meant death, so it still screams at you to be approved of, to fit, to be seen well. But the tribe is gone. The crowd you fear is a few faces who will forget you by morning. You are trading the one life you have for the fleeting approval of people too busy performing for their own invisible audience to ever truly watch yours. So today, make one choice that no one will applaud. Do one good quiet thing entirely for yourself that no one will ever see or praise. Feel how strange it is, and how free. Practice acting from your own judgment instead of from borrowed eyes. And slowly the audience loses its power to move you. The man who stops performing for ghosts, finally, has the time and the strength to build something real. Lesson 7. The ground beneath the crown. Everything you have learned points to one final law. You do not reach the summit by climbing faster. You reach it by becoming the kind of man the summit cannot break. You have watched men reach the top and shatter there. The promotion that swallowed them. The fortune that exposed every weakness. The success that arrived and found no foundation beneath it, and so it crushed the man it was meant to crown. You assumed the climb was the hard part. The climb was never the danger. Arriving unbuilt is the danger. This happens because success does not solve your problems. It magnifies them and hands them a megaphone. Whatever you were at the bottom, you become tenfold at the top. The undisciplined become reckless. The empty become desperate. The man who never mastered his time, his money, his habits, his health, simply gets a larger stage on which to fall apart in public. So today, stop chasing the crown and prepare the ground that will hold it. Master 1 hour, command 1 coin, lay 1 stone, defend 1 fortress. Build the 4 foundations so deep and so solid that when success finally comes, it lands on bedrock and not on sand. Become the man first. The crown is only safe on a head that has learned to carry its own weight. When the ground is ready, the climb forgets how to stop you. Leave this behind, the ground first. Always the ground first. So here you are, at the end of the comfortable lie. You see it now, all of it. The hours that bled while you looked away. The money that would only have made you a louder version of the man you already were. The habits laying stones in the dark. The fortress you let crumble. The stage you performed on for ghosts. And the ground, the 4 foundations you never thought to build. The man who started this is not the man finishing it. That man believed success was a race. He believed willpower was a feeling. He believed later would come. The drifting man is dead. The builder has his hands now. Hear this and let it settle into your bones. You were never out of time. You were out of command. The clock was never the enemy. Your surrender was. Every hour is still yours to seize, starting with the next one, the one you are living right now. They built a world to keep you chasing, distracted, drained, and grateful for the chains. They did not count on you stopping. They did not count on you looking. They did not count on you taking back the 4 territories that were always yours. Their whole machine runs on your obedience, and you have stopped obeying. Stand on your own ground, and no one can pull it away. Master your time, and you own your days. Command your wealth, and you cannot be bought. Build your habits, and you become inevitable. Defend your health, and you cannot be toppled. Do all 4, and success is no longer something you beg for. It is something that finds a man already too solid to break. Feel the weight of what that means. The world will keep testing you. It always does. But a man built on his own ground does not fear the test. He was made for it. Let them mistake your discipline for coldness. Let them mistake your silence for weakness. They will not understand the man standing in front of them until it is far too late to stop him. That is the reward for building in the dark while everyone else performs in the light. This was never about becoming someone new. It was about becoming the man you were before they taught you to chase. Disciplined, awake, sovereign, dangerous in the quietest possible way. The way of a man who finally belongs to himself. So stop chasing. Start building. The ground first. Always the ground first. And when the climb comes, and it will, you will not be the man who shatters at the summit. You will be the man the summit was waiting for. The candle has burned low. The lesson is over. What you do in the next hour decides whether any of this was real. Choose. I am not going to ask you to subscribe. Asking is for men who need permission. If everything you just heard struck something true in you, then you already know whether you belong here, among the few who chose to build instead of chase. Subscribing is not a favor to me. It is a mark you make for yourself, a quiet vow that you are done drifting. Decide it the way a sovereign decides, alone and without apology. And before you go, leave one thing in the comments for the rest of us building in the dark to find. Tell me this: which of your 4 foundations, your time, your wealth, your habits, or your health, have you neglected the longest? And what is the single stone you will lay tomorrow to begin taking it back?